Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Travel Plus Loyalty podcast. Today, I'm very thrilled to be joined by the co-founder of pAiback, a revolutionary service that helps travelers to save money automatically by tracking price drops on your airline tickets. It's a brilliant concept, I think. You book directly with the airline, you forward your booking confirmation, and if the fare drops, pAiback will secure the differences on airline credit. No charges, no changes to your itinerary, and no risk involved. So, to kick things off, Jason, thank you for joining. Could you briefly introduce yourself, who you are, what inspired you to found pAiback?
Yes, Henry, thank you for having us, or thank you for having me here today. pAiback was born out of a personal frustration, being a frequent flyer that flies weekly, every other weekly for business, and also with the family. We're big advocates for getting out and seeing the world, and as a team, we're really big advocates for just travel in general. So it was through the own personal frustration of having tried to figure out the best time to book your trip, and I think that we all do it. We see these hacks online: book on a Tuesday and clear your cookies, and make sure that Mercury's in retrograde the day before. All these different things, and ultimately realizing that none of that was true.
So let's start with the beginning. What led you to build pAiback? You mentioned a little bit about booking on a Tuesday. You saw some personal experience. Was that really the spark for that idea? And how did you look into to market it?
Yeah, so there was two moments that really were pivotal. 80% of people start off with searching through Google, through Expedia for the pricing, and I was exactly the same. And I would go onto Google, and I saw Google had a little graph at the bottom that showed me, and I thought, man, I knew I should have booked that trip last week when I intended to, but I wanted to hold out, thinking that the price might dip. And so that was the first moment of real visual pricing dynamic. And then the other really aha moment was when my wife wanted to join me on a business trip, and we booked her trip about a month after I booked mine, and it was, I don't know, $50 or $100 less expensive. And I'm thinking, hang on, how come I booked my ticket a month earlier and it's more expensive than closer to the time? It just didn't make sense. And so for me, the combination of the two was trying to figure out, again, when is the best time to book? And 2 years later, we're ultimately realizing that the right time to book is now.
So basically, you were hit by the same things as probably all our readers are hit by. Say, when should I book? What to ensure the best price for this? And your advice is simply book now. Let the pAiback monitor the prices, and then basically ensures that you get the right price up to departure.
Exactly. So for us, this concept of trying to game the system, when is the best time to book? And the reason we say the best time to book is now is because prices are going to go up, they're going to go down. If they go up above what it was that you paid for, fantastic. We do nothing. If they go down, now that's where pAiback comes in as this amazing tool to optimize your ticket, to catch that difference between what you paid for it and what the new market value of that ticket is. So it's removing the guesswork, the gambling, if you would, of when should I book my ticket. And as I said, I'm no different than anybody else. I had these pain points like everybody else. I have a hyper analytical mind. And so for me, it was wanting to figure this out. Now, pricing dynamics are based on historical data. The airlines price based on historical data. And if there's one thing that we know, history does not repeat itself. September the 5th is different this year than it was last year, economically, politically, geographically, everything is different. So the idea of being able to predict when the best time to book, it just doesn't make sense. It just is an intangible concept.
And talking about the concept, if we go into a focus on the flight prices that drops and your use of e-credits, why is he using this rather to refund that is normally what you see in the market today?
Yeah, so there's two different types of tickets that the airline issues: non-refundable and refundable tickets. Most of us book a non-refundable ticket, and we hear the word non-refundable and we think nothing can happen to it. And what can happen is actually we can take those tickets and we can generate future flight credits. Now, when I buy something or return something on Amazon, I put it back onto my credit card and I go to the grocery store and I am none the wiser that $50, $60 just got put back. But when my wife does it, she puts it on the Amazon account. And the next time I go into Amazon, let me tell you, I am so much happier. I'm happy to spend $60 extra than I would have before because I've got this credit that I didn't realize. And now that purchase makes me feel better. There's a dopamine hit, at that point as well. So, there is non-refundable that gives you this future flight credits. If you pay that premium for refundable tickets, then you will get that back returned to you as on your original method of payment. But what this is really doing, our deep-rooted ethos of pAiback is we want people to do more of what they love, which is travel. And so by getting a future flight credit, for frequent flyers, that's the same thing as cash. You're going to use them on future flights. The beautiful thing from an airline's perspective is that's going to actually make that customer stickier. It's going to make them more loyal to you. So now they've got $100, $150, whatever that figure is, and we can talk about the range that we've generated. But now you're more loyal to that airline. And tell me an airline that you can book a ticket for $150 in America. It's just not happening, So it grows the industry back to where it was, those pre-2019, travel elements. And again, it's that deep-rooted ethos of pAiback wanting people, ultimately, yes, we want to save people money, but we also want people to then do more of what they love. We want people to go out and see the world domestically, internationally. That's really where our core exists.
And you mentioned something that's interesting, right? Because you mentioned the loyalty and the benefits. So keeping the money in the system. So preserving loyalty and the benefit, is that something that also fuels you in this solution? Because you keep the money in the system. You mentioned that you keep them actually motivated to continue flying, to endure, to secure loyalty status and so forth. And that has that also be something you play on as a part of the go-to-market?
1,000%. And I think if you look at the world that we live in, which is this very aspirational world, everybody is planning their next trip. Where are they going to go to next? What do they want to do? People are planning these trips. So that driver, that element of loyalty to drive, future flight planning. The other interesting thing from this loyalty play that we were discussing was, I remember a very early user from our pilot scheme. We saved him $25. It's not life-changing money, but he called me up and he said, you know what? I had a trip that I was going to book in Christmas and I didn't know when I should be the best time to book. He said, I'm going to book it now, which is earlier than he would have booked it. So it's growing that loyalty. It's making these people think, now, you know what? I was thinking about taking a trip. Now is the time I'm going to book it. And I'm going to book it with the airline because I've got that $25 I can apply to it. So it's this really beautiful double-edged sword of loyalty for the airlines, but also, again, gambling is, it's one of the best. We're not gambling with our airfare anymore. We're saying, I wanted to do this trip. I know I'm going to take this trip. Why would I not book now? Why would I wait and figure out what the system does?
Yeah, and then you also can plan as a frequent flyer, right? That wants to keep loyalty. You can plan and say, now I will book my next 5 flights. I know they are really ahead of schedule, but when I'll book them, I'll get the right price no matter what, basically. So that's I think that goes well in that sentence.
Exactly. I mean, I was one of those guys who, when I booked a flight, I would put on Google Alerts, and let me tell you, my inbox filled with Google Alerts, and I did nothing with them because it's $25 exciting, it's $100 exciting. Do I want to be on the phone with an airline? I don't know. Is it 20 minutes? Is it 2 hours? I really don't know. And so it's that time to value proposition of, you know what? Let me just book it. And as they said in the 80s, set it and forget it. You put it in, you set it, you forget it. You don't have to do anything else. We optimize that ticket for you.
And if you try to, just rounding this introduction off here, if you try to explain the payback's value proposition for a traveler in just one sentence, what should that be?
We are looking to save money and optimize people's travel so that they will do more of what they love.
Perfect. I think that was a good roundup for the introduction. So let's go into how it actually works. So would you walk us through the user journey from you basically have the booking done with the airline website and how you get the confirmation and how in the final end, hopefully you get some e-credits.
So we don't want somebody to change their behavior at all. Frequent flyers predominantly love to book directly with the airlines. So we only work with direct bookings. So you book directly with your ticket, you register to pAiback. You can either forward that ticket to us or you can integrate your inbox, in which case you don't even have to lift a finger. We'll take that ticket, we'll monitor it exactly as you've taken it. Same flight, same day, same time, same seat. Nothing is going to change for you. And so we're going to monitor that ticket for you 24/7. Now, when the price of that ticket drops, as I mentioned, below what it is that you paid for it, we use AI to create a dialogue with the airline on your behalf to get you that credit for the difference. Now, we do use a blend of AI and human, just for the simple fact is we believe that as much as we're a technology company, we're a service company first. And that means that we are wanting to ensure that nobody's tickets get changed in any capacity. So if there are any of those edge cases that people get concerned about, then in which case the human interaction gets involved. The other beautiful thing is you submit your ticket. It might be you as a lone passenger. It might be your family of 4 on that ticket. If it's a whole family of 4, I think we've seen tickets with 8 and 12 people on it. Anytime that price drops, that is applied to every single person on that confirmation. Now, those credits will go to those individuals, but that there's one confirmation issuing credits to every single passenger. Then at the end of the month, we will charge you a service fee of whatever we save you. We believe that the right way to do it is only when you win do we win. So only when we save you money do we charge you a 20% service fee on what we saved you. As an example, $500 ticket drops to $400. That's $100 savings. We will charge you at the end of that month $20.
And that money basically is coming. I think we just need to do that a little bit about the service fee here. That is an extra invoice, so to speak, that you have to pay, right? So you pay that to pAiback, but then you get the e-credits on your account.
Exactly. So you're going to receive a full e-credit into your airline wallet, and that's going to be directly from the airline. We are then going to charge you as the passenger, as the user, 20% to whatever credit card you have assigned. Now, again, we do this at the end of the month. It allows any disputes to be issued. It also allows some review process for everybody. And as I like to say, it avoids paper cuts, because there's nothing worse than when you get a $2 charge, a $10 charge. You know, we try and do this nice summary at the end of the month so you can see that true savings over that month.
So basically, what happens if there's no price drop? Do you still get the service fee, or is it just blank? Is it no pain, no cure, no pain, or something like that?
1000%. If the price of your ticket only goes in one direction, and if that direction is up, we don't touch your ticket. We are not interested in upward movement. We're only interested in downward movement. Now, that ticket might drop once, it might drop twice, and we've seen drops as many as 8 times on a single ticket. Now, those tickets might have been a $10 drop, a $50 drop, an accumulation of series of drops, but every single time that ticket drops, we will optimize that ticket again and again and again.
So that's basically very interesting. It's free for us passengers to use your service, because you're monitoring 24/7, right? That's what you said. By some kind of AI and automations, you are continuously monitoring that, and basically it's only payable if I get money out of it, and savings out of it.
Correct. If the price goes up, nothing happens, no service fee. If the price goes down, we'll charge that 20%. And you bring up a really interesting point there with the 24/7. We have cases where international customers, they might be asleep 3 a.m. They might be in a board meeting at 3 p.m. We've seen price drops happen for a single hour. We've seen them drop for a series of days. And so in both of those, we capture them when you don't have the time to, or again, you might be sleeping, whatever it might be. But if the price goes up, nothing's changing with your ticket.
That's really interesting. And as I can see on your webpage, you support Delta, American, Alaska, and United right now. How did you establish these connections, and how does it technically work in that sense, monitoring? Is it via an agreement with the airlines, APIs? Are you looking into booking systems, or how does it work?
So we work with the big airlines, Delta, American, United, Alaska, and we're looking at adding some additional airlines to that roster as well. So focusing on those main carriers that have this zero change fee policy, it's all within the airline's policy. We've not created this policy. Similarly, we didn't create dynamic pricing. That happened in the 80s. So we're focused on the big US American airlines that direct bookings: American, Delta, United, Alaska, and there are more to come in the near future as well.
Interesting. And of course, looking at our readers, that also comes from Europe. Is it something, a market that you would go into if the same conditions apply for some of the major airlines in Europe?
So two parts to answer that question for you. One is kind of, does it work for international travel as well? 1,000% would be that for those international listeners, provided that they are booking through one of those American service companies. The second one is would we expand to a European market with European carriers? I guess this could be a shout out to any European carriers that are listening to reach out to us. But the second one would be yes, definitely and totally. And it is something that we are looking at in the future as well. Now, every country has its own set of rules and policies, but we know that we are building a loyalty for airlines, and that is one thing that is a huge caveat for airlines right now. We're seeing the decline of a number of different airlines right now, as they're scrambling to figure out what their play is. And loyalty is such a pivotal element for retention, for repurchasing. So from a European perspective, 1,000%, we are potentially starting conversations with some international carriers, which was a very exciting conversation that's been had in the last couple of days. So we'll see what comes of that. But we know that these airlines that are all fighting for market share, that are all fighting for a specific customer base, competing routes, that pAiback really ends up providing a strength and loyalty for these airlines.
Yeah, but also security, right? Because the unique selling point here is if they are pAiback enabled service-wise, then it's secure to book at the airline now in a travel of 3-6 months ahead, because you are secured the lowest price. You don't have to wait. So if the price drop, you get your refund in e-credits, and you secured that. So basically, it's a unique selling point from the airlines to go in on the market. As I can see, there is no better communication in that sense.
So you're completely correct. From the airline's perspective, it is actually a huge revenue element as well, because now when people are booking earlier, it allows you to control your revenue pricing models a lot better. as well as there's a double-edged sword. Loyalty and revenue are the two caveats here. The sooner you book, the better it is for the airlines. It makes you more loyal. It makes you more tangible, with that product.
Yeah, and as we know, the industry, the cash flow is important. So they secure the cash flow much earlier in early bookings. So they definitely want that.
Well, to that point, not only does it secure cash flow earlier, but a future flight credit that is held with the airline remains as a liability on their books, which you got one of two options. You can use it or you can lose it. You can either add more money to that credit, which is only further revenue for the airlines, or don't use it and let the airline keep the money. There's no loss to the airline then from that perspective. It's only upside for them.
And if we then look a little bit about the user interface, so how travelers are tracking their booking and the price history, the alerts, some customizations, how little price drop is needed before you make the rebooking and so forth. Is that something that you can talk a little bit about? So the potential new users of pAiback can get an idea.
Yeah, so we really want to create some transparency to your own individual flights. We're not here to, out the market on full dynamic pricing, but when you have a specific flight from an analytical perspective, I want to know what is happening to that flight all day, every day, if I could. So by providing real-time live graphs on our website allows people to see where their pricing was monitored and where it moved around. Again, you can make those adjustments. How frequently you want your emails, whether you want text messages, so on and so forth. We know that we're fighting for inbox interspace. We're fighting for cell phone wallpaper space, so to speak. So we don't want to bug people, but we want to make sure that they are alerted to every little nuance that they can have with it. The other interesting thing is it's interesting for people to be able to see what their price of their ticket ended up doing, how it actually moved and varied. I think that that's something that frequent flyers really, really enjoy and really want to know.
Well, definitely. I think I would have it as a widget on my phone to follow it real time, so to speak. Moving a little bit into some challenges and how you have seen the market fit. What is the biggest challenge so far? Is it regulatory? Is it airline cooperation? Is it the dynamic pricing? Where do you see the biggest challenge right now?
I think that there's two lynch points. We're still a relatively young company, and with that comes a trust element. We're security certified. We want to make sure that everybody's data is protected. All credit cards are held by third parties, so when hands off on it, it's secured by that. So trust is the first thing. The other part is education. Most people, even frequent flyers, don't know that they can make adjustments on their tickets. And so it's this big education side that we are really creating here as well for people. That's been our big two linchpins. The moment that somebody receives a price drop, we end up receiving a 5 to 7x on bookings from that particular person within a 6-month period. So again, it's a trust thing. We know that people want to try us as we become a trusted name in the industry for it. As we continue to grow, that will, God forbid, we ever thought about putting our credit card details onto Amazon, and now look at us. We sign into everything with Facebook and Amazon. So the trust is one part. The education side is another as well. And to that little caveat, people think that they can send any ticket. There is one ticket that we cannot monitor, and that is the basic economy ticket. And that kind of comes with the bare bones element as well. And so when we have a basic economy ticket, there's nothing that can be changed or done with it. It's anything above basic. So again, it's these little nuances for people to realize that it always sounds good, the basic economy. but we end up monitoring tickets. Usually that one fare above ends up dropping below what it is that you would have paid for a basic economy.
And that also helps, again, from the real frequent flyers, that you also typically get a little bit more miles out of the higher fares. So it can be a good business case, especially on that. So looking into... continue, please.
No, from the airlines' perspective, totally. It's much better for the airlines as well. Basic economy was largely generated to compete against some of those budget airlines. And we're seeing some of those having to restructure their business model or a little bit of scrambling going on right now. And so booking that one fare class above, it can sometimes sting by another $30 or $40. But with pAiback, we end up finding that it actually will probably drop below what that basic economy is. And maybe I haven't mentioned this as well. I think it might be warranted to mention, maybe in this section, maybe at another time, but 60% of the time, the price drops below what somebody originally paid for it. So we're seeing over 1 in 2 use cases of these tickets moving. Now, the average savings that we see across all fare classes is 30%. Now, if you aggregate that across all of them, that averages $250 per savings. That's significant.
It's nice to see your credits. If you, let's say, fly 10, 15, 20 times a year on an airline, then there should be some good savings coming into the e-credits, into your wallet on the airline. So interesting use case, actually. You mentioned a little bit about your young company. So the biggest surprise that you have since the launch, is there a moment of highlight, a specific milestone that you especially looking for surprise?
Well, I come from a luxury service industry background where I know every single person that would walk through the door and I would interact with. For me, it has been an amazing use case to see such growth of users, whether it's people referring us organically, whether it's people writing to us and telling us how amazing this service is. Those elements, I think, are humbling to us, and we don't discount how much trust people are willing to put in us for this as well. We know that people's flights are usually a very important part for them. So for me, it is the human component of it that has been so beautiful to see, whether it's been direct conversation or whether it's been through exchanges through our reviews or through sharing through social media. I think that has been a really interesting case for us.
And of course, we cannot avoid this question, Jason. Competition. We know there is other price tracking solutions or tools out there. Of course, you benchmark that, but what sets pAiback apart from that?
Yeah, when you look at competition, we put this out into the interwebs, and the initial thing everybody came back with was, well, why wouldn't you just set up a Google alert? I said, as we mentioned earlier, I set up a Google alert. They're seen as a competitor, but for me, I don't want a Google alert. It's going to fill my inbox up. It's about the automation element. Now, there are obviously other players that are coming to the market. One thing that we know as a company that we do, and we strive to ensure this, is we stay well within the parameters of efficacy and policy for the airlines. It comes in terms of how we collect the data, on how we interact with that data, and how we market ourselves as well. As mentioned, competitors are going to come and go. It's going to happen. I actually was more excited when we saw our first few competitors because it told us that what we were doing was right, which as an entrepreneur, you obviously want that little bit of boost. But also, the more competitors that have come around, it is only further education for this being something that can be done. Now, we hope that we can, continue to be a market leader in this space. We've got some exciting developments that are coming forward, partnerships as well. So I'm here for competition. Competition is healthy.
Definitely it is. We have seen that, and also it helps a little bit on putting pressure on the airlines, of course, to give you better access, I suppose, in systems wise. But looking to the future, so let's look ahead. Where is pAiback in 3 to 5 years from now?
We've got big plans. I think that any company should have big vision plans. Right now, we're really rooted in the aviation space and really solidifying ourselves as the preeminent player in the market. We're looking at other travel adjacent markets. We know that there is a little bit more fracture in some of those: hotels, car rental. We're also seeing dynamic pricing exist in other consumer spaces. We won't allude to too much because we think that it's a future play for us. If you know dynamic pricing, you may have seen it occurring, in which case, heck to you, it's the manual lift. So we see a series of growth elements for us, both in travel adjacent spaces as well as geographically. We see ourselves moving into bigger markets as well.
A personal wish for me is definitely hotels, the big hotel chains and their dynamic pricing. So that I can wish for Christmas, that you're moving into that space in some kind of future. So we have talked about the big four in the US market, and you have mentioned that you're also looking outside US and to more partners in that sense. So really exciting there. So any exciting features on the roadmap? Upgrades, predictive analytics, a premium membership perhaps with more benefits, or personal services, or anything in that sense? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what's next on the roadmap has largely been driven by what we've asked our customers want. We survey them to ensure that we're giving them what it is that they're asking for. And what they are wanting is for us to move into some awards programs as well. And that is the next big thing that's really coming for us as well. Again, looking at some integrations as well as some partnerships, premium service models. I think we will be seeing one of those in the next 3 to 6 months as well.
So that's a good teaser for watching out on that space. So you mentioned a little bit about competition and how that is evolving. So have you also considered the partnership with specific travel agencies or some of the big platforms around, or are you trying to be more independent?
We're here to talk out of both sides of our mouth. We are here to be here for direct to consumer, and we're also building our business to business side as well. Building a powered by pAiback model for independent travel agents is really at the top of our list, as well as other travel planners. And I phrase it that way because these people aren't specifically travel agents. So we're building out a series of programs that allow for that. Now, looking at some of the TMCs, some of those are kind of a little locked up in a different way. We're starting conversations with some, and we'll see where those evolve. Right now, our real focus is to better for our direct consumers, is to grow some of our B2B projects and markets. But ultimately, we just want to figure out a way for people to do more of what they love.
And I think that sums up it's quite beautiful here on also on your one-liner earlier in our talks. But if there's some kind of entrepreneurship or people out there wanting to continue into travel tech, follow your good journey here, what kind of lessons and suggestions could you give them?
we know that travel is not an easy space. We are not blind to that. We know there's a lot of players, there's a lot of big players. Optimism and resiliency is a huge thing for entrepreneurs. You will get the door shut in your face a number of times, and you will get told no more times than you wish to ever have. We personally want to be supportive of the ecosystem, and that's why not only do we want to benefit the customer, we want to benefit the airlines and any adjacent tools that exist. So, I mean, to your question, if there are any entrepreneurs that are looking to dive into this space, we have many conversations with adjacent companies, whether that's conversations of integration or just some thought and hindsight. You know, we bring on some young team members as well because we love the idea of nurturing and growing talent outside of our own. You know, sometimes some of the best ideas come from fresh, new entrepreneurial ideas, and sometimes they come from fixing old archaic methods. So we're here for entrepreneurs. If there's an element if somebody wants to reach out, then we're here for it.
This has been really fascinating, Jason, and thank you for walking us through your technology, the vision behind pAiback, and what lies ahead. You made some good teasers on some of the stuff. So for listeners that are eager to try pAiback, where should they start, and how can they follow your work and the roadmap that you are looking and are talking about?
Yeah, so registration right now is online, pAiback.app. That's pAiback.app. You can also follow us on all the social channels, LinkedIn. If you want to follow me personally, Jason Lucking, Lucking on LinkedIn as well. And you can see both my entrepreneurial journey as well as pAiback's journey on there. And as you may have potentially heard in the background as well, I have two beautiful young girls who 1 and 4, who are our entire world. And we do this as well as much for them because we want them to see the world. You know, we don't get our children birthday gifts. We take them on traveling trips because we think that the importance of experience is so key to civilization and culturally for us to be better than this divisive element. Because the more the world we see, the more we realize we're all just made of the same stuff.
Thank you again for joining us, and we're wishing you and the pAiback team a good continued success. And to audience, I hope you'll give pAiback a try. We definitely are very eager to try it, and also to see what comes next. We'll definitely follow pAiback from now on, and then continue to. We'll monitor you as well, and then see what comes out of that. Not with AI yet, but maybe we should put some AI stuff on that part as well. Thank you, Jason, and let's keep in touch on what happens in the next 3 to 6 months.
Thank you, definitely. And again, I'd love to do a follow up and let you know where we've gone, where we've grown, and keep you on this journey with us.